Lee by Jonathan, part 2 of the critique on this article from the Atlantic. Technology will soon erase millions of jobs. I am endorsing this book, Technological Slavery, written by Ted Kaczynski. I think it's wonderful. And this book, and hopefully other books, have given me probably some ideas, but most of the ideas I already have were in line with his. So, you know, this isn't something like, you know, oh, you read a book and you find out, you follow somebody. No, we have to learn to think for ourselves. Martin Luther King taught us, man great pain, to think for ourselves. Covering this virtual technology, this guy, Professor Stanford, said the cyber existence, all this virtual reality stuff is going to make us more in touch with other people's feelings. That's a joke. That's just ridiculous. If I'm on this screen right now and I start yelling and I start crying, you know, you might feel me. You might be like, you know, this guy, you know, he got a point, or maybe you'll hate what I'm saying or whatever. But if I'm in front of you and I start behaving in those ways, it's going to have a whole different effect. It's going to reach people. That's what the spirit is all about. The computer, these machines, these mechanisms made with man's hands, that the Bible clearly speaks against as being grave sins. It actually uses the word graver, or idolatry, sorcery, witchcraft. These idolatries take away from our soul. They take away from our connection with the Creator. And so the idea that you're going to be able to become empathetic through a virtual world is a falsehood. And it's all designed so that people can be tracked and monitored, of course, and every single behavior that we engage in is put into this man beast, or the artificial intelligence, as they've been calling it, and it's using numerical sequences, mathematical equations, so that it can conform us and basically accept bondage, or basically accept slavery, or be willing to work for the oppressor and against the oppressed. There's mass depopulation that's going to occur in the future. By connecting millions of people to one central hub, mega scale creativity and intellectual, so, you know, they want the people that are going to lose jobs through automation to find an outlet to be able to essentially assist the oppressor and feel good in doing so. And so the central hub is artificial intelligence. It's all connected to that. The man beast, or the Antichrist. Because the Antichrist is not going to be a person. People are looking for a person to call the Antichrist. It's like we'll always be pointing fingers. Oh, you know, the president's the Antichrist. Oh, this guy shows up in India and he's the Antichrist. No, it's actually what we have made with our own hands. That has become the Antichrist. And so that's most of what I had to say. This is part 2. Most of what I said is on part 1. The result that we're going to see is mass destruction. We don't make the rules for God. God makes the rules for us. And we're seeing it throughout the land. We're going to see the drought. We're going to see the floods. We're going to see the war. And instead of focusing on, you know, racism and homosexuality and even income equality, we really need to figure this technology thing out, because it's getting out of our hands. I've seen drones here. My wife has seen drones multiple times in our yard. And, you know, the laws, the bills are passed so that it makes it so people can sue other people for spying on each other. But how are you going to catch the drone? How do you know who flies it? So if you're in the network, if you're working for the oppressor, then perhaps you have those capabilities. But for the average working man, for the average man or woman, we don't have those capabilities. So to go back to my solution is we need to organize, we need to mobilize, we need a mass migration throughout the land. We need an immediate strike through all industries. We need to find a way to connect without using Facebook or Snoop or all these, Pentagon-funded organizations that are just monitoring, tracking us and waiting for us to make a move. We have to find a way. I don't know what it is. Maybe, if we meet at the coffee house, we're going to get infiltrated. But we have to find a way. If not, it's utter destruction for us and for our children. And although perhaps when that day comes, we could say, hey, the revelation is no lie. It's here. But we're not looking for that. We're not, crossing our fingers and hoping that that day comes. God, He can do all things. And in doing so, He can change the Word. The Word is permanent. The words won't change, although the translations do. And that's one thing we need to recognize. We need to go to the original translations, Hebrew, Greek. And one of the projects I'm working on is translating the Bible. It could take a whole lifetime to do. And hopefully maybe I can form some kind of a committee. But we need to find out the real translation, and those words are permanent. But nevertheless, they can change how we interpret them for the good. Jah has that way. He has that power. He has all powers. He's omnipotent. He is everything. And so, let's not deny Him. Let's not deny His way. I won't deny His way. I'm not going to deny His way. Rastafari.